Hello, it's good to see you.
Hi,
I
how are
haven't seen
you?
you in so long.
I know it's been forever.
Yes,
It's so
it
good to
was
see
a
you.
birthday party. Like that's my last memory.
Oh my God, if that's that's too
No.
long. I hope I haven't aged too much then. Let's
Yes,
hopefully.
likewise. Likewise.
it was last year's birthday party.
That's right. Yes. So, as you know, I wanted to talk to you because you have this amazing endeavor in your life,
Hmm.
Gather, this restaurant. And
Yes.
just knowing you, it has always seemed to me that this is this beautiful blend of multiple things that you love. And so I was hoping that you could talk to us today a little bit about how you got to that point. Like, how did you sense that that calling was working? How did you know that now was the time? Just tell me your story.
All right. So, I think that number one, the time is never right. It's one of those things that you just need to go for it, I think. But gather, like you said, is one of those things where it's a blend of everything that I love. Um, Food for me growing up, like that was how you showed love. I'm from a black and Italian family, so it's like, oh, what's wrong with you? You're not eating. You don't love me anymore. Oh, that's sad. And food was at every single celebration, party, funeral, everything, homegoing, like wherever it was, the food was like sort of a big showcase of it. So like that was again an essential piece of like showing like this is part of your love. This is the work that went into it. Um, and so when I looked at Gather and me and my business partner, who also grew up sort of in that same way, based around family traditions in church and home, and having sort of the center around the table. That's what we wanted to have as our place and at Gather. Um, I it's a it's a place where you can have this showman feel of being able to really invest into people's lives, and get to know them, because once you bring food around, people just tend to open up and flow. It's like better than a therapy session. Sit around the table and just be able to feed them some good food. Or if
Mhm.
it's bad food, it'll be a different therapy session. That's fine. um, but it's one of those things that really forces people to have to communicate with each other, and forces people to have to really invest, besides shallow conversations. And that's what Gather, and that's what our restaurant really sort of embodies. And when we went to open the restaurant, we wanted someplace that was small, under 50 seats, so that way we could really invest in the community and not be so super overwhelmed where we wouldn't get to know everybody. It's been amazing to sort of watch the kids that come in and these families grow, and we get to know them, and like, oh, you're in this grade now, and like they bring us birthday presents, we get them birthday presents. It's really having this family style, old school setting. And I really love it. It's really great.
Yeah. It's just so beautiful looking too. Like the aesthetic, the whole thing. I'm so in love with what you do.
So, well, thank you.
And so part of what I'm doing right now is this sermon series called Secrets of a Joy-Filled Life, which can sound uh, like larger than life, right? But
Yes.
these little things in life that bring joy to us, that bring joy to the world, and sometimes we don't even name it. Like we don't even know that that's what it is. And so I was just wondering, as you kind of live out this life that you're living, are there ways that you can identify, like, yes, this is definitely sending light out into the world, and this is ways in which I'm receiving that same kind of a light? Does that make sense?
So, yeah, no, absolutely. I think that in the restaurant world and just food in general, if you think about, whether you are a home cook or not, or like to just watch, other people cook, there's something that has this super deep emotional attachment with it. And even if you don't cook yourself, you can have these other memories of what your grandmother was cooking, or barbecues with your dad, and the meticulousness of like, nope, don't touch it, it's not ready to be turned yet. Like there are like rules and regulations, and some of them are very nostalgic and bring back a lot of hopefully overall good memories that are surrounded with food. You can think back to wow, if your mother or grandmother was still here, what's that one dish that she would have made, to be like, oh, her cookies. For my mom, who is still alive, it's her beef stew. It could be like 90 degrees outside in the summertime, like sweltering, gross Massachusetts swamp weather, and I'll be like, "Yep, beef stew, yum 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 yum." And so those are like the types of experiences that we want to be able to create. Um, the thing about food and being in this industry too is that people choose to come to you. Running a restaurant, it's one of those things that it's not just like I have to go to CVS or I have to go to Walmart to go and get this. People are choosing to come to you because we provide an experience and we provide this good food. And so knowing that are a part of somebody else's experience and a part of someone else's joy is really what does it for me. Is that even in their best times, if you're doing a bridal shower or if you're doing a birthday party, that like you're helping to make that be amazing. And in their worst times, if you're doing a funeral, a homegoing, a sickness or anything like that, a get well soon, they're choosing to come to you in order to provide something that's going to make them feel better or or help them to be able to go through that. And so for me, it's looking at it as I want to create the best experience that they can have. And so knowing that like I'm in some little small way a part of that story is just really amazing to me. And so I want to choose to be able to make sure that like that I'm not having a bad day. I feel like again the emotional piece of food is when you're cooking, you can tell when somebody's having a bad day. You can tell when somebody's having a good day. You can tell if somebody had a bad date the other night or if okay, they're stressed out. Um that all gets emoted right through the food. So I want to make sure that like I'm staying in a good space where it's something that's bigger than me. I'm doing this for somebody else, and I want to make sure that like it's the best and the most positive and just and a great experience for them.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. And the food is beautiful. Like you guys,
Thank you.
if you go find like Gather on Facebook, they take all these pictures of their food. Are you other places besides Facebook, like Instagram?
So we are on Instagram at Gather Pembroke. We are on Facebook. We're on our regular website at gatherandeat.com. Um that's all I know. You could probably Yelp. I don't know.
Right.
I don't I'm not the social media person. So just Google.
That's, this
Get
food is
on the interwebs, look us up.
that's right. This is beautiful food. So it's like it's a beautiful vision, it's beautiful food is the reality.
Yeah.
And I would also love to get just what your experience is with the other side of it, right? So there's obviously the good, right? And we always
Mhm.
want to make sure that our brains remember that. But I think it's also
Yes.
important to acknowledge what is hard and for all of us to lean on each other for strategies in terms of
Mhm.
getting through the hard. So, how do you deal with the things that feel like a struggle?
Um, so I think that it is having a trust in the scary. I think that that is something that was really important for me, and having a good sort of overall support system. When we opened Gather, it was a super busy year for my family personally. Um, so I quit my very high paying job to basically be broke. um, we had 3 children. at that time. My in-laws had moved in with us. We so all in that year, the uh about a week before we opened Gather, we found out that we were pregnant with our fourth child.
Oh my God.
Um, we bought a house. My father-in-law passed away. It was just basically like perfect storm of everything that could happen sort of happened that year. And so it was just a lot of things. Um, but like I said earlier, you never really know when the right time is to do something. If you want to wait until your life is perfect to be able to do something, then you'll never do it. If you want to wait until you're financially stable to have kids, you'll never have kids. For
Right.
me speaking, anyway, I don't know about the other trust fund people, but for in my view, if you want to wait until until XYZ is lined up perfectly in what you want it to be, it may never happen. So like you need to be able to just really listen to the calling and just be able to go for it.
Mhm.
And so there are times when it's really scary. I mean, especially having a restaurant right now during pandemic time, um, that is called gather and you cannot gather is such a contradictory piece. There are times where I'm like, all right, which bills do I want to pay, which one do I want to go with? Oh, I still have a mortgage at home. Oh, I still have a family of seven that I still need to figure out how to provide for. um the amazing part is that somehow, God has never let me down in that, which has been amazing. That I even when there's times where I'm like, "Oh, I don't know, it's like the day before, and I'm like, well, I guess I'll just roll with this and just sign this off and see how this goes. It's really leaning into what the promises are, and knowing that, like, all right, God's going to take care of the birds, he's going to take care of me, like it it may not be in the way, it may be like how he takes care of the birds, but I'm going to be taken care of, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's being realistic in some of the things that you need to adjust in your life, and knowing that when hard times do come, that it's not a retreat mode, it's a press forward mode. And that to be resilient, and to be courageous in what you need to do, and not compromising. A
Mhm.
big thing for us, when times did get tough, us at the restaurant, we're not open on Sundays, and so we've never been open on Sundays. This was like not necessarily lined up when we first were trying to decide with our business partners, because Sundays for a breakfast restaurant are your busiest day. And we got a lot of flack, even from like online. Well, I'm never going to you guys because you guys aren't open on Sundays, and that's the only day that, like, we want to go. And what kind of crazy breakfast place isn't open on Sundays? And we were like, we made a promise to God. We had church responsibilities. That was what number one was. And so throughout all of this, we've have remained faithful to that, and God has still provided for us to still be open.
Mhm.
And so it's making sure that, like, you can adapt, but don't go back on your word, because he's not going to go back on his. And so to be able to keep that in mind for those hard times and those stress times, that it may get darker, but it's just a dimmer switch.
Yeah.
It'll come back. The light's not all gone, but it may just get kind of low.
Yes. No, I very much like this, and God has given you guys a ton of great ideas over the last year.
Yeah.
I watch them pop up, and I think, awesome, great, perfect. Now you're gonna think I'm a total stalker. Like, what is with this lady?
Feel free to adjust. None of them are copyright, so you can. I won't be mad if they pop up somewhere else.
Oh my gosh, I love it. This is very helpful. Thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Yes, absolutely. I am so glad to be a part of this. And, like I said, just in the good times celebrate, in the tough times celebrate. Just know, who you are, and know to be able to press forward and lean into to your friends and your faith, and just stay with it.
Praise God. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I look
All
forward
right.
to seeing you again and hopefully not such a long time next time.
Exactly, I know. Well, when you come out here, all right? You'll come out here and you'll actually get to have some of it, okay?
Yes, and don't visit me in the winter. You will not like it.
All right.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Bye.
Bye.